This myth around vaccines causing autism came from a paper published in 1998. The findings in this paper have subsequently been found to be false, and the paper has been retracted by the journal, and the findings have been subsequently thoroughly debunked. No links have ever been found between any of the vaccine components and autism. Current science suggests that autism is caused by a combination of genetic, environmental and neurodevelopmental factors, not vaccines. Some parents are concerned about some components of the vaccines like mercury or aluminium. The mercury-containing component in older vaccines is called thiomersal. Even though tiny quantities of thiomersal have been shown to be safe, in fact the current routine childhood immunisation schedule in Australia does not have any vaccines in it that contain thiomersal. In terms of aluminium, while yes, we use aluminium as an immune stimulant in some vaccines, we know that there is much more aluminium in our normal food and drink in our diet, including breast milk and infant formula. Another concern we sometimes hear from parents in terms of the early childhood vaccines is that there might be too many and too soon. Well, let me reassure you that the National Immunisation Program schedule has been rigorously tested and is safe. The reason there are a number of vaccines given in the first couple of years of life is that we want to protect infants and young children from serious diseases at the time when they are most vulnerable to those diseases. Let me reassure you that the Australian Therapeutic Goods Administration and the Australian Technical Advisory Group on Immunisation really carefully review the evidence before recommending a vaccine in Australia. So how do we know vaccines are safe? Firstly, vaccines are tested in what we call randomised clinical trials. These trials generally involve hundreds and sometimes thousands of participants. They evaluate whether vaccines work, and they carefully record any side effects experienced by the participants. Sometimes they're compared with an older vaccine that we have all the data about, and sometimes they're compared with an inactive product, which is called a placebo. Once there are sufficient clinical trials and the data has been analysed to show that a vaccine is effective and safe, it's then brought to market after a careful regulatory process. But the safety surveillance doesn't end there. There are safety surveillance mechanisms which record side effects and adverse events that might happen to patients after vaccination, after it's been brought to market. This is called post-market surveillance. This post-market surveillance data is again carefully analysed, and we try to understand whether a particular medical event is more common in people who have received the vaccine than we would expect in the unvaccinated population or before vaccination. Reports are in fact available to the public and regularly published by the Therapeutic Goods Administration and other bodies, so nothing's being hidden from you. We know vaccines are not perfect. Rare adverse events do occasionally happen, but the vaccine safety surveillance organisations in Australia are committed to transparency as well as rigour in our reporting.
A common concern or myth that we hear frequently in our clinics is that children can still get sick, even being vaccinated. This is true. A child still might get influenza or whooping cough despite being vaccinated. The superpower of vaccines is that it can dramatically reduce the impact on that child's life, including hospitalisation, reduced ICU or intensive care admissions, disability, and even death.